I didn't care for episode 3 of The Acolyte, but a lot of y'all are hella toxic. If you guys have seen my review for the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte that I posted here last week, or my much longer review that I posted, you would know that I actually enjoyed the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte, and I was excited to see how the rest of the show would play out. And episode 3, like, I don't hate it, but I don't love it either. So spoilers for episode 3 of The Acolyte. First and foremost, I thought Jodie Turner-Smith was incredible. A lot of people want her as their first choice for a live-action adaptation of Storm in the MCU. I wouldn't say no to that. One thing, like, I thought the flip from May going, like, I don't want Osha to become a Jedi, and so the way I'm gonna stop you is I'm gonna kill you. And then she set the place on fire and things like that. Like, I feel like that flip of her turning on a dime like that, that wasn't earned. I get, like, yes, they are kids. And as a kid, I've said things like, oh, I wish you were dead. I hate you, things like that, to people that I love and adore. And I didn't actually mean it, but they made me mad. And so as a kid, I lashed out in that way. But it's a completely different to say, oh, I'm going to kill you. And then she actually tried to do it. I don't know. In terms of the acting and writing of it, like, it didn't feel earned. And I know they kind of teased May's dark side in the beginning, but then even then, like, Osha, like, when she, like, stopped and almost looked like she was about to kill the, like, butterfly looking thing, but Osha did the same thing. So, like, I don't know. Then also from, like, a lore perspective, I feel like this is just another example of Star Wars or Disney era Star Wars taking away the prophecy and the specialness of Anakin being the chosen one, because they already kind of did it with Rey and having her being the one to take out Palpatine and not Anakin. So it's like, then what was the point of Anakin? But then also you get to this show and you find out that Osha and May were also born of the Force. They also didn't have a father. They also faced immaculate conception. And it's like, but before that, Anakin, this was the first time in history that something like that happened with Anakin, but now you're saying, oh, it happened already before. So then it's kind of like, then what was the point of the prophecy of Anakin? And Star Wars loves putting things out of order, but I feel like in this particular case, this episode maybe should have been the first episode, because it just felt weird. But with that said, I get that this particular story and this particular episode is told from Osha's perspective and the perspective of a 10-year-old. The next couple of episodes, we're going to get May's perspective and we're going to get the Jedi's perspective. So I have to see how the full story plays out. And so I'm willing to wait and see how the full story plays out before I say, oh, this show is just outright terrible. And that is where I go back to the intro of this episode, where I say that some of y'all in the Star Wars fan community are just outright terrible. Because yeah, there are certain things that I didn't vibe with regards to this episode, the way it was written, and then also from the Star Wars lore, like, even why are they even going after these kids in the first place? They're too old to be Jedi. Like, you think about with Anakin, they originally didn't want to take Anakin as well because they were too old. And so the fact that they were going after these 2 kids and they're 8 and 10, and like when Saul was like, yeah, I was taken into the Jedi Order when I was 4. Now granted, I'm like, the Jedi taking child soldiers, basically, that's a whole nother conversation, but that's still within the lore. There are things that I question with regards to this episode, but unlike some of y'all, I'm not raging and being upset and calling this show woke feminist agenda and everything like that, like a lot of y'all are doing. People are seeing that there's this coven of witches, there's this really pretty sapphic coven of witches, and yet they're blaming that on the fact that this show is terrible. They're saying, oh, their agenda. Like somebody said recently, I saw in the comment section, like, they're trying to inject politics into Star Wars. I wish they would just tell me a good story. I'm like, it's literally called the whole show is about politics. So that I have absolutely no problem with. As you guys know, my motto, look at the shirt, it's make it blacker, make it gayer. It's very easy to criticize the show without being racist, sexist, homophobic. I literally just did it in this video. I also saw somebody say like, oh, this is why we need to bring the men back to Star Wars. This is what happens when you let women take charge, like Kathleen Kennedy or even Leslie Headland. And I'm like, weren't y'all the same ones complaining about the prequels when George Lucas was in charge of Star Wars? Part of the reason George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney in the first place is because of the backlash and hatred that he got for the prequels. Like, y'all hated Star Wars when George Lucas still had it. Now you hate it when Disney had, like, are y'all ever satisfied? But like I said, I didn't really care that much for this episode. But once it's done, I'm still willing to give the full story a shot, because once I get the full story, I might be like, oh, okay. Because like I said, I did like episodes 1 and 2. So this is only episode 3. We'll see. But what did you guys think about, hopefully you made it to the end of this video, but what did you guys think about episode 3 of The Acolyte? Be respectful, otherwise you will get blocked, because contrary to popular mythology, free speech is what applies to the government. My page is a dictatorship. If you say some racist, sexist, homophobic stuff, you're gonna get blocked. But anyway, do the things over here in the algorithm to boost this video. If it's one of your first time coming across my page or coming across one of my videos, hopefully you like what you see. Check out the other videos on my channel and hit the follow button if you're not. And with that said, welcome to my safe haven. Happy Pride.